Hey, Park Place. Just want to give just a little quick weekly devo like we've been doing for a while. Hopefully you've been enjoying these um, between Carl, Joey, and myself. It's been kind of fun to hear these different voices throughout the week. Maybe just very briefly about some things that maybe God's speaking to us on, some reflection, and so hopefully you're learning some things as we go. This week, I was been kind of processing through this idea that God will never leave us nor forsake us. And we see that in Joshua when God tells Joshua, be strong and courageous. I will not leave you. I am going to make you strong. I'm going to make you bold, and you're going to go into that new land, and you're going to conquer it well. And in that, we know that God is going to help us through difficult times, that God is going to be there for us. Sometimes it's going to feel like He's not there. It's going to feel like we're in this all by ourselves. And that's what the enemy wants you to believe. The enemy wants you to believe that God is not there, that God has abandoned you, and that you're all alone. And that is so far from the truth. And then we see that again in Hebrews chapter 13, the idea that the author of Hebrews, again, is kind of reciting Joshua and the idea that God is not going to leave you nor forsake you. But we're also reminded about another passage from Psalms 37. And it's been one I've been kind of like reflected on a little bit more, but in the psalm, it refers, it's more of a psalm that David had. I'm sure it was David. David, that is saying that God was telling David, don't be discouraged when evil people are succeeding around you, when they're successful. Realize that I am here with you. And verse 1, do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. I know that for a lot of us, when we see someone who is successful, when they're doing, like, God is like showing up in these ways in their life, and it's like, God, why aren't you doing that for me? I've been faithful to you. And God's like, just hold off here in a minute. He says later on, he says, commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this. He will make your righteous reward shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. See, in this life, we're told that we're not going to get everything that we want. And sometimes that's kind of a shame. Like we want what we want. We want to have that money. We want to have that boat, those toys, basically. And for some, you guys, you will have those, and God will bless you with that stuff, and that is awesome. But what He's telling David here is, He's saying, be patient, wait on me. Don't be thinking about the next greatest thing. Don't be envious of what your neighbors have. And that's really hard for us. That's really hard for us. Like, we see what other people have, and like, we want that. We want to enjoy that. And God, and this is not a prosperity thing, like you name it and God's going to give it to you. That's not how the way that God works here. But God will give us the desires of our heart. God will give us those things in His due time. And maybe He realizes that maybe it's not in the best interest for us to have that certain thing. Then throughout the rest of Psalm 37, guys, I'm not, I'm just really like pulling some things out of here. But the rest of the psalm, it kind of talks about the fact that this is what the wicked are getting, and this is what the righteous people are getting. You see, the Israelite community, they had to go into the promised land, and they had to clean it out. They had to get rid of all of that stuff before God could kind of bless them and kind of like make it their own. And the sad part is that the Israelites did not really do that. They didn't do a good job of cleaning out the land that God called them to do. They let some of the wickedness stay put. And I remember from our studies that sin cannot be in the presence of God. That's wickedness, right? And so we need to be constantly looking at ourselves. We need to be examining ourselves and repenting of sin that's in our life. And understand as well as that what we talked about last week is the fact that we're not citizens of this world. We are just traveling through. Now we can enjoy the place that God has placed us in, but don't get envious of the things that this world has to offer. Realize that we have something better and greater waiting for us. And that's in heaven. That is being in the presence of God. One of the things that the enemy wants to distract us from is having material things and wanting to accumulate and get and do. And even for the church, there's this idea, there's this thing that as pastors and as leaders of the church, we're constantly having to battle of looking at the other church, of all the amazing things that they have and all the, if only we had this, we could do this better. You know what? And that's a constant battle as leaders that we have to battle in our own self as well. It's that sinfulness, that pride part of it. And so one of the things I'm really hoping and praying that as we finish out these next few weeks, days, whatever it is left of quarantine, that we would have taken some time to reflect on our own selves and as a church and examine, like, are the things that we're doing, is it bringing pleasure to God? Is it bringing a smile to his face? Or are we just trying to like one up the other church, catching up with the Joneses kind of a mentality as a church? But then for yourself, maybe there's some time you've been in, hopefully have time, like I said, to reflect on some stuff, and God's been able to show you some things. Hey, I need you to take care of that thing. And before I can bless you, before I can move you to the next thing, I need you to deal with that. Guys, quarantine is no fun. The isolation has been no fun, but hopefully you've been able to have some internal discussions with God about some things. If not, I would encourage you to pick up your Bible and start reading through the Psalms. Guys, Psalms is a beautiful place. Some of the beautiful things that David wrote are we can relate to and process ourselves. And maybe you want to read through Psalms 37 a little more. I just read a couple verses out of there. And again, didn't do a complete 100% justice and really exegete it through for you, like that kind of thing. But hopefully enough for you to understand that we need to be in a right relationship with God. We need to not be looking at the things that other people have and wanting those. See, God has some great things in store for you, and all he wants you to do is to trust him. Trust him. Do you trust him? We will say it with our lips, but do we believe it here? Do we believe it here? All right? Guys, hope you have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you on Sunday. This Sunday we are talking about the Holy Catholic Church. This has been something that everyone has been really curious by, and it's going to be a great discussion. So I look forward to seeing you on Sunday morning. But anyways, have a great one, and we'll talk later. Bye.